Good morning, everyone. It's Stretford Post. How you're doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. I hope everyone's having a great time, having a great weekend so far, guys. It is match day. Manchester United face Manchester City in the Manchester derby. Of course, it is a much more low-key Man United derby, Man United-Man City derby, Manchester derby. It's a much more low-key affair, of course. But one thing we should remember is that Manchester City are not guaranteed Champions League football this season. So Man United could quite possibly cost Manchester City Champions League football, which means Man United still have a chance to qualify for the Europa League via the Europa League with the chat for the Champions League. And if Man United qualify for the Champions League, Man City won't. And then, you know what a turn up for the books that would be, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be absolutely incredible if we did that? We'll have the banter, of course, all day long. We'll be laughing all day long. As I said yesterday, I'll do an all-day stream. It'd be so funny, of course, guys. I would absolutely enjoy it, of course. But thank you, everyone, who joined me today. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And please don't forget to smash a like on the video. If you guys could do that for me, that'd be fantastic. Let's get it up to 50 likes. Can we get up to 50 likes? Let's see if we could do that today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, let's get into a little bit of news in regards to Manchester United. Manchester United, of course, are going to be linked with a lot of players over this next few months. We are getting closer and closer to the transfer window, which is obviously going to be a very interesting one, considering Ineos's first real chance to prove themselves to Manchester United. I mean, obviously, Ruben Amorim is their guy. I mean, of course, they spent some money in this last summer. Of course, they spent their own money. And not their own money, but they spent the club's money. They did spend money in the summer, however. And it wasn't a bad window, if we're being totally honest. But this summer is when we really see what Ineos are all about. And, there are going to be a lot of transfer rumours around Manchester United, not least players that we wouldn't have thought that Man United would be going after. Maybe some of us might have not have heard of these players. But it is absolutely imperative that Man United do improve next season and get up that league, because 13th place is not where we should be. We might not finish 13th. Hopefully we finish higher. God forbid we don't finish any lower than 13th, but I hope Man United do climb up that league table, because that is what it is all about, of course, guys. And one of the players that Manchester United are going to be interested in, and it's a player that you guys might not have heard of, guys. You might not have heard of this player. You know what? He is a young player, another young player coming through the ranks in Italy. And his name is, of course, Pietro Camuzzo. I don't know that's how you spell it. At the end of the day, I don't know that's how you pronounce it. Pietro Camuzzo. He's a player that plays for Fiorentina at the moment, guys. He plays for Fiorentina. He is a 20-year-old defender, of course. Highly ranked in Italy. Centre-back, of course. And the great thing about Mr. Camuzzo is that he is a right-footed left centre-back, but is also only 25 million euros, guys. That is his market value. A lot of teams are interested in the services of Camuzzo. He is played for all the way from under 15s to under 21s Italian, and it's another one that you would say that, who is this guy? Who is Mr. Camuzzo? Why are Man United going after these unknown entities and stuff like that? Look, you know what? As I said yesterday, that I don't mind. I really don't mind Man United going after certain players. I don't mind them going after players such as Camuzzo, as long as we get experience in as well. Because Man United need experience as well. Not only young players, but Man United also need experience as well. But Camuzzo, don't be surprised if you hear his name being mentioned a few times. Man United will sign defenders this season. Man United have Evans and Lindelof leaving the football club. So Man United will be spending money on a defender. Okay, so that is pretty certain. Man United will not leave Ruben Amorim without any defenders. So Man United may sign one, may sign two defenders. One of those defenders may be a young up-and-coming player like Camuzzo, who can obviously be a mainstay in that defense for many years. He is way above his age. I mean, the way his physique and everything is beyond his years, of course. And he is an incredibly high prospect player, guys. And that is another player off the conveyor belt of Manchester United that we are interested in. And we can say interested FC and this and that. One thing's for certain, guys, is that we're going to sign players this summer. You know what I mean? And we're going to spend a lot of money this summer, although we will bring in a lot of money. We will, from sales and players leaving the club on wages and stuff like that. We will spend some money as well. We will spend a bit of money as well. So that has to be remembered. And we have to try and act a little bit, I wouldn't say enthusiastic, but I would say that just act a little bit like, you know what, things could happen this summer. Especially given what's happened so far this season, I do believe that Ruben Amorim will be back to an extent. Of course, obviously they're going to throw the PSR and the FFP thing at us, of course. And we can't ignore that. Of course we can't. But we will make money this summer. We will. And you know what? I would say that there will be some surprises. There will be some surprises, not least the money we spend. Maybe a couple of players that will leave the football club. It might be a player that me or you like, but you know what? We'll have to wait and see in the summer. It's going to be a very interesting one. And we have to obviously, remain a little bit cautiously optimistic. That's what I would say. Guys, big up everyone in the chat. Big up Darkro. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Big up Darren. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing good, bro. Hope you're good, mate. Kenny, happy Saturday, sir. Match day today. Come on, guys. It is the Manchester Derby. Big up, Kenny. Hope you're doing well, mate. We need to go for players with easier names to remember. Look, you know what, Darren? I'm finding it hard to pronounce these names. Pietro Camuzzo. I'm going to have to ask my wife about that one. It's an Italian name. Pietro Camuzzo. Comuzzo. So there you go. There are some names that Pietro. I think it is Pietro. Those are the names I have to pronounce. I have to learn my pronunciation, of course, guys. We get the point, don't we? We get the point, of course, and that is basically a player that Man United after. And now, you're absolutely right. Some of these names we're going after. Was it Cebriebre? Cebriebre, he's a player that plays in Argentina that we're after. That is very hard to say. I give myself neck cramp saying that, for goodness sake. Goodness me. Cebriebre. Goodness me. My goodness, am I speaking Swahili? What is that? You know what I mean? At the end of the day. But yeah, that is a South American player who plays for River Plate in Argentina. And Man United are interested in that player. Big up, Fanatic 8. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Hope everything is good with you, bro. I hope you're doing the legend that is Fanatic 8. Hope you're good. Guys, absolutely. Good morning, Almac. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. All the words from Ratcliffe and even Amorim indicate there won't be any spending spree. The constant talk about PSR is softening his heart for disappointing window. Almac, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But Man United will spend money. And the way Man United will spend money is by accumulating money. Man United are not going to spend their own money. This is the thing. Ineos will not spend their own money. And obviously this is concerning. Ineos won't spend their own money. And we have to make money before we can invest the money. So in an ideal world, we get rid of Anthony, we get rid of Rashford, Lindelof and Eriksen already leaving. Maybe we get rid of Malacia. Maybe Anana goes. Maybe maybe a player maybe a Garnacho or Mainu goes. Who knows? Man United will make money. But this is a business tactic, Calmac. This is a business technique that every business uses. They lower expectations so that the fans are already prepared for disappointment. So when disappointment happens, that, you know what, we be like, oh, well, we expected it anyway. But we should not accept it. We should not accept it. But I'm saying right now, Calmac, Man United will spend 200 million, not net, but will make money. And we'll spend it. That's my prediction, guys. That's what I'm hearing from reliable sources, that Man United will spend up to 150 to 200 million as long as we can get rid of certain players. So Man United will have a kitty of money. Man United will have money coming in. Man United will have money coming in from, obviously, Jadon Sancho, transfers such as that. We can make a lot of money in the summer as well as spending money. Look, they should not be ignored, the fact that we get 40 million for even 13th in the Premier League. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be ignored as well. This money that we get, that they're talking about, PSR, no FFP. I just wish, Almac, that PSR and FFP didn't exist, because at the end of the day, all it's contributed to is given the rich folks an excuse. That's all it's given. It feeds into the rich people. It feeds into the people who got the money, that, we don't have to spend money because PSR and all this business. Look, you know what? I want to know what happened to the 4 billion that Ineos were going to spend on Chelsea. That's what I want to know. What happened to the 4 billion that Ineos were going to spend on Chelsea? That's what we need to know. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they're very good at hiding money. but they're not good at. But they're very good at hiding money, but they're not good at exposing how much money we're going to make as well. And this is a big concern, overriding concern about Man United. Man United will sign players like the players I mentioned, Pietro Camuzzo, Sia Brebra, and these players that Man United will be interested in. Will Man United spend money on an expensive, more established player? I think Man United will. I think Man United will bring in one established player. I think the established player that comes in will be a striker. In my opinion, I think that. But I don't think Man United will go all out on big signings. For example, we will be signing these players like Pietro Camuzzo, looking at these type of players going forward, of course, younger players coming through. Liam Delap. Look, Liam Delap, people could talk a lot about Liam Delap, right? Liam Delap is going to cost us 40 million. His release clause, if Ipswich Town get relegated, his release clause is 40 million. That's his release clause. So if Ipswich Town get relegated, which it looks likely, they lost yesterday, of course, Man United could sign Liam Delap for 40 million. But you look at 40 million and you think to yourself, can we get better value in the market than Liam Delap? You know, can we get a better player than Liam Delap for 40 million? You know what I mean? I honestly think, guys, that's one for you. You know, at the end of the day, let me put a poll on, guys. Let me put a poll on. I'm going to put a poll on right now for you guys to digest, of course. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write, would you spend 40 million on Liam Delap in the summer? Let's have a look. So I'm going to write this as a poll. Would you spend 40 million on Delap in the summer? It's funny, isn't it? Because his name's Liam Delap, right? His name's Liam Delap. If his name was Liam Delap, we might say yes. We might say yes if it was Delap. Delap. Absolutely. There we go. I've written a poll there, guys. If you guys can have a look at the poll, be absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. Morning, EC. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Really good to see you. Good to see you, mate. Hope everything is good with you this Sunday. Match day, of course, guys. Manchester United play Manchester City in the Manchester derby. Listen, guys, we beat Manchester City at the Etihad this season. 2-1, of course, the late goal from Ahmad, which was absolutely fantastic. One of the few highlights of this season was defeating Manchester City in the Manchester derby this season. Who would have knew that, you know what, that it would be this bad this season? It's been pretty bad, you know. I mean, the fact that we still have some hope in regards to the Europa League is phenomenal. We still have a little bit of something to cling on to. Hopefully that remains. Obviously, we play Lyon on Thursday, guys. So hopefully we do win. We win that game over 2 legs, you know what I mean? And prolong this enthusiasm about qualifying for the Champions League. As the poll said, it's 22% chance on Man United qualifying for the Champions League this season via the Europa League. The biggest difficulty, I would say, and I think someone mentioned it earlier a couple of days ago on this community, is that if Man United defeat Lyon and Athletic Bilbao, I think Man United will win the Europa League. And I actually agree with that. I think if Man United defeat Athletic Bilbao, Man United will win the Europa League. I'm not certain, but I think Man United will win the Europa League. I believe that, absolutely. And I hope they do. But obviously, Lyon is going to prove a difficult game. Obviously, we're going to get a first-hand view of Turkey. Of course, Turkey, who's been capturing the interest of Manchester United, of course, recently, and other football clubs. 25 million release clause, apparently. So you know what? We're going to have to look at him at first quarters, and I'm sure he's going to have a very good game. Lyon, of course, need to win as well. They're not going to qualify for the Champions League via their league position. They're in a similar position than us at the moment. And they would want to win that game as well. So we're going to have to take that game very seriously, which I'm sure we will. But today, the first focus is about the Manchester derby, and it is about putting Manchester City to the sword. As I said, you know, Manchester City have not qualified for the Champions League yet. If Manchester United defeat Manchester City, their Champions League aspirations are looking a little bit more precarious, you know. And you know what will happen? Wouldn't it be beautiful? Man United qualify for the Champions League, Man City don't. Wouldn't that be beautiful? You can call us delusional or whatever, but you know what? Every small blessing, Every small blessing you have to take with open arms, guys. Absolutely. That's what I would say in regards to that. Good morning, Shah. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Morning, Shah. Let's hope the injury is not seriously available for Leon. I hope so, Shah. Yes, I heard about the Delict injury. Doesn't look like he's going to play today. Big disappointment for Manchester United, of course. Luckily, that Maguire is back. However you make of that what you will. But you know what? This is ridiculous, isn't it? It's like as soon as Man United get some kind of enthusiasm in regards to injuries, we're getting players back, we're getting the full team back, the full squad back, we get another setback. And one of the last players I would want it to get injured is Matthias de Ligt. He's been one of our star players this season, and it's disappointing. If he doesn't play against Lyon, I think we'll be all right. I do honestly think we'll be all right against Lyon without de Ligt. I think we got Euro, we got Maguire, we got Mazruri, and I think Aiden Heaven should be ready by the second leg as well. So, we're going to be all right. But you know what? He is a very, very good player. And it's a player that has been highly underrated this season in regards to a lot of our fan base and the media. That, he's been one of the best signings this season, in my opinion. I would prefer Jonathan David for free and Javier Costillas as a cheap backup instead of Delap. However, if Jonathan David rejects us, Delap is better than nothing. It is better than nothing, Almac. But you know what? As we say, as Danny B, who comes in the show a lot, you know what? Man United can do a lot better than Delap if they scout. I mean, we got a bunch of players. We've got a bunch of guys there who've been talking about scouting, who've been talking about the next big thing and stuff like that. I think Man United can get a lot more for their money than Delap. I don't think Delap is prolific. I think Man United need a prolific player. Why don't you spend 20 extra million and get an experienced striker? If we don't get, for example, Jonathan David, why don't we just spend an extra few million and get a striker in there? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and that's what I would say. Jonathan David probably was signed for a football club who are in the Champions League. So obviously this is where Man United are a little bit handicapped because players are going to look at Man United right now and see, wow, they're 13th place in the league. You know what I mean? Am I really going to go there? You know what I mean? They're going to look at that right now. And you know what? We're going to have to fall behind in the pecking order in regards to other clubs that want a player like Jonathan David. But by the time we win the Europa League, it's going to be too late for some players. Some players would have already agreed to join other clubs. And, this is the handicap that we're having at the moment, of course. Amir, Delap is unstoppable. I wouldn't say that, mate. I wouldn't say that. I think he's been okay. I don't think he's been prolific. Unstoppable would be taking Ipswich Town out of the relegation zone and scoring 20, 30 goals a season, which Man United need, which he hasn't done. He's done okay. I wouldn't say unstoppable. No, definitely not, Amir. That's a bit too overly zealous, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely, Shah. Goodness me. Is Trincao a hard-working player? Does he press and defend? Turkey, for whom I prefer, doesn't like to do the defensive work. At the end of the day, look, you know what? I don't know Trincao. I don't know until I see it for myself at Man United. Of course, we have to look at the circumstances and in context of players playing for different clubs, different responsibilities, different instructions. We can't just say, does he do that? He doesn't do that, and exclusively doesn't do that because he might not. He might have been told he doesn't have to do that. We have to look at things in context. We have to look at things like that. I don't think for 1 minute that Trincao and Jerky don't do the defensive work. I'm a bit, at the end of the day, we look at our team right now, and I like Jerky. I really do. I really do. I would prefer him to Delap. I would, and because he's got a higher ceiling. In my opinion, we'll have to wait and see what they do. We can't really speculate. Don't worry, mate. We have Luke Shaw back for Leon. Mate, if Luke Shaw plays against Leon, for goodness me, I'm a dinosaur. I'm a dinosaur. Absolutely, that's what I am. At the end of the day, I'm going to turn into a Tyrannosaurus Rex later on today if Luke Shaw plays for Man United on Thursday. Luke Shaw has more chance of appearing in an episode of Casualty and ER than playing for Manchester United on Thursday. That is Luke Shaw at the end of the day. Luke Shaw is probably thinking, you know what? I don't really need to play on Thursday. I'll be all right for another game. You know what I mean? I'll be all right for another game. I'm not going to play on Thursday. I'm good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Shah. Big up yourself. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Triple M. How you doing, my friend? Absolutely good to see you, mate. We really need Osimhen and Gyökeres at summer transfer window. I would love that, Amir. I would really love that if Man United signed one of those strikers. It'd be incredibly good, although it is still up in the air what Man United do. Champions League football is very, very important for Man United. This is why I say the game on Thursday is incredibly important. It's so important. It's one of our biggest games in the last few years, probably the biggest game, because if we win the Europa League, it would change everything for Man United, not only this season, but next season, and that will obviously have a rebound effect on other seasons as well going forward. Man United need to qualify for the Champions League, and we can't really talk about big players until we're in the Champions League, because at the end of the day, as I said, you know what? When you look at Liverpool, for example, right? And you look at Arsenal, and they're guaranteed Champions League football this year, right? Unless a miraculous thing happens, right? They're guaranteed Champions League football this year. If Liverpool or Arsenal go after Gyökeres or Osimhen, what are they going to do? How are they, Are they going to say, hold on a minute, I'm going to wait for Man United to win the Europa League, then I'm going to agree to Man United? They're not going to do that, are they? There is talk about Osimhen being a Man United fan, but that doesn't really hold any weight when you're talking about a player's career. Do you know what I mean? So what I would say is that, we are in a bad position at the moment, because, if Liverpool or Arsenal come in for Osimhen or Gyökeres, they're going to choose Liverpool or Arsenal, because you snooze, you lose. They're not going to wait for Manchester United to win the Europa League. I hope that we have some sort of plan. I hope that Man United do have some sort of a tactic that they're going to attract players if the worst case scenario happens and we don't qualify for the Champions League. Of course, it does add weight to their excuses. It will add weight to Ineos' excuses that they're, we're not in the Champions League, so it's going to be difficult. PSR, no, it's all going to be. I don't want to be hearing anything like that this summer, of course. Almac, I read that Roger Fernandez can play secondary striker. It's crazy to use him as a striker if we can't get a top. He plays a right winger striker. Yes, Almac. He's a very versatile player. This is something that we're looking for at the moment. We're looking for someone who can do a number of roles, in particular, right wing back, left wing back, attacking midfield. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I wouldn't trust Roger Fernandez as a striker. You know what I mean? There's no evidence to say that he's a prolific. Man United need a striker, a proper one. And it's disrespectful, obviously, to Rasmus Højlund and that, who are better strikers than Roger Fernandez. We have to understand that. All right, as much as some people don't like Rasmus Højlund, he's a better striker than Roger Fernandez. At the end of the day, Roger Fernandez is a right winger and a right wing back, and that is his speciality. And we got to stop shoehorning players into certain positions, hoping they come good. And we did the same with Mainu this season. Look what happened at the end of the day. Some was saying, Mainu could play as a striker, just blah blah blah. And it didn't work. Fell flat in our face, didn't we? So we have to sign players that, are specialities in their positions, in my opinion. Trincao ahead of Turkey. We need some experience in the attack plus cheap. Premier League proven understands Amra's system. Shah Alam, Turkey's cheaper than Trincao, my friend. Turkey's cheaper. Turkey has a 25 million release clause, Shah Alam. Trincao will go for around 40 million. So when you're looking at that, I would prefer Turkey, because I believe Turkey's ceiling is higher. Up until this week, Trincao only had 2 caps for Portugal. Up until this week. Is Trincao good enough? You know what I mean? I would say. Not many people have seen much of Trincao. He's done okay. You know what I mean? He's not a player that I'll go, wow. But he's second choice to me than Turkey. Absolutely. Manchester derby today. Absolutely. Big up. It is the Manchester derby. Sal, do you bet Amram he will win the Premier League for Man United? Of course I do. Matata, of course I do. As long as he gets backed by Ineos. As long as he gets backed, I can back him. But the thing is that I won't blame him if he doesn't get backed. He needs to get backed with his own players. At the end of the day, he has a conveyor belt of players that are not his. He has a bunch of players that never played his system. You know what I mean? So this is obviously very, very important. If he gets backed with about 5 or 6 players, you know what I mean? We'll see it when it happens. Then you can say, well, then he's got a chance to challenge. You know what I mean? But Man United have been way off the league title for 13 years now. Not only Ruben Amorim, but Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Erik ten Hag and these players. We've been way off. Even if we come second, we've been 20, 30 points off second place. You know what I mean? And that's what we have to remember. Do I believe Amorim has the best chance of winning the league? Yes, I do. I think he's the best manager we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson. I really do. I think he's going to be the best manager. I think he's the best up-and-coming manager. And I think if he managed a team like Real Madrid, if he managed a team like Barcelona, he'd be doing exactly the same thing as Flick or anyone else will be doing, because he's a very good manager. Man United are a club in turmoil. Man United are a club in the right mess. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. We need to win the Europa League. Where the players come from? Absolutely. If we win the Europa League, we get 90 million. We also get 30 million for winning the Europa League, but we get 90 million for qualifying for the Champions League as well. So you know what? That is 120 million right there. Do you know what I mean? So Man United qualifying for the Champions League will make a huge difference to Man United's transfer kitty. That's why I'm not jumping on this bandwagon that Man United are not going to spend any money. We got no money. We're broke. Look, at the end of the day, if Man United, as I've been saying many, many times, Man United need to win the Champions League. If Man United don't win the Champions League, Man United's attraction for players will be significantly less, and Man United will be trying to look for the bargain basement players. Of course, they'll be looking for free transfers. They'll be looking for the Aiden Heavens of this world. If Man United win the Champions League, don't be surprised if Man United sign an Osman. Don't be surprised if Man United sign a Gutierrez. And that is what could happen, because obviously Man United will be in the Champions League. Man United would have got 120 million, at least. You know what I mean? And then you add on 30 million for the league position. You know what I mean? Then you add on 80 million for Anthony and Rashford. Then you know what I mean? Like, there you go. It's right there in people's faces, in live in living color. That is how much money. And that is just what I know. Not forgetting sponsorship deals, such and such and such and such. Do you know what I mean? And people just want to jump on this doom and gloom thing and believe in what Ruben Amorim said and believe that we're broke. We are not broke, guys. Listen, we qualify for the Champions League. We get 120 million at least. 30 million for winning Europa League, at least. And 90 million, 80 million for winning the Champions, for qualifying for the Champions. 90 million for qualifying for the Champions League. That's not 120. My apologies. That's 170. What's it? How much? 120 million. 120 million exactly. Guys, you know what I mean? And then you think about Anthony being sold. Then you think about, Rashford being sold. Then you think about Malacia. You think about Eriksen and Lindelof leaving the football club. Casemiro might leave the football club. Osman might be sold. You know what I mean? These players here, and then there's money there. There's money there. And people just say, no, Man United are broke. Don't fall for that trick. Don't be a sheep. Don't listen to business people who downplay expectations. We know where the money is coming from. Man United, go to Man United's website right now. Go to Man United's website right now. We got DHL. We got Audi. We got all these companies who sponsor us. And we get millions a year just for sponsorship deals. And these people here, they're trying to play down the fact that we've got no money. So if they do disappoint in the transfer market, they've got an excuse pre-recorded. You know what I mean? So they've already inputted this seed in the fans' head that Man United have no money. We got no money. We got no money. We're going to have to, PSR, You know what I mean? At the end of the day. I don't fall for it for 1 minute. Absolutely not. Exactly. Plus all the players are absolutely. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, Triple M. These manipulative liars. This is why I'm saying, if Man United go out and spend money this summer, you're going to know, you know what I mean, where we're getting the money from. And it's not from Ineos, guys. This is a plain fact, right? We get around, the numbers are not accurate, but I'm gonna round it off to the nearest 10, right? This is just a few things. This is not everything. Man United, even coming 13th, will get £30 million for finishing 13th in the league. Man United win the Europa League. They will get £30 million. That's 60 million. Man United qualify for the Champions League. Overall, they will get 90. You don't get the money straight away, but you get 90 million over the year. 90 million, right? So far, we've got 150 million there already, right? Then you think about the sale of Rashford, 40 million, 190 million. Then you think about the sale of Anthony. Let's say we get 30 million, 220 million. That's not to say about the money we're going to save from Eriksen, the money we're going to save from Lindelof, the money that Luke Shaw might go, Malacia might go, these players, Onana might go, Eriksen's going to go. And, you look at that and you think the money Man United are going to save over a year. And you look at that and you think, yeah, well, Man United do have quite a bit of money. Now, even if we took half of that and we pull it towards FFP and we pull it towards PSR, overall, we're going to still spend 120 odd million, 110 million. People, at the end of the day, look, people need to look at it. And as I said, look at the Man United website. Go to the Man United website, right? Look at the sponsorships all over the website. Let's not forget tickets. Let's not forget season tickets. Let's not forget, revenue from shirt sales. Let's not forget that as well. Let's not forget all the money that is coming into Manchester United. Let's not forget that, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to manipulate. And everyone will say we're broke. You're just falling into their trap. You're just falling into their trap. They want you to believe that. As a football club, we're in debt. But as accumulating money for transfers, we got money for transfers, right? At the end of the day. And that's what I would say, to be honest, guys. And that is just what I know. And I'm no business expert. I'm no finance expert. But I can say that off the cuff. I can just say that. Look, I know already what we're going to make at the football club, how much money we can make in the football club. People forget that. People forget about, the merchandise that we sell, the mugs, the T-shirts, the tea towels, the socks, the shoes, the hats, the caps, the things that we sell, and they're just going to brush that under the carpet because they want you to have low expectations. So I would tell you guys, do not fall for Ineos's low tactic that they're doing to try and lower the expectations. Do not do that, because that is what they want. Now, of course, I've said it over and over again. A big part of this summer is Manchester United winning the Europa League, right? Man United need to win the Europa League. Man United win the Europa League. You can pretend, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we haven't got no money, but we will have money at the end of the day. And that is what I would say, guys. If Man United don't win the Europa League, you will hear all the excuses under the sun about Champions League, PSR, FFP, blah, 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 blah. You're going to hear it over and over again in the media outlets. I'm sure Jim Ratcliffe will sit there with his head down again like this, like he's having a stroke, looking at the TV, telling us, no, not looking, but looking at the floor, and telling us that, you know what, we got no money, PSR, we're not qualified for the Champions League, so that had an adverse effect on our transfer dealings and plans for the summer, blah, 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 blah. That is what he's going to do at the end of the day, and it's up to us not to fall for the old tricks anymore. Amram we trust, big up Amir. Amram we trust, absolutely, my friend. Amram in, absolutely. Triple M, big up Triple M, big up Amir. 230 minutes. That's just what I'd say. I'm not Triple M. I'm not coming on here saying that I've done the bar in business. I you know what I mean. I passed the bar in business. I passed the bar in finances. I'm no finance expert, guys. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, but what I'm looking at this. I'm minusing hundreds of it as well. I'm not even mentioning some other things. You know what I mean? That can go towards the debt. You know what I mean? I'm not mentioning other things I'm not mentioning the Jadon Sancho 25 million that we're going to get for him. You know what I mean? I've not mentioned that, have I? You know what I mean? I've not mentioned other things as well. The millions that we're going to save in wages from the players that are going to leave the football club. I've not mentioned that either, have I? I've just mentioned a few things here and there, guys. Right? So this illusion that we're going to not spend money because, you know what, we got no money. So don't fall for that old chestnut. At the end of the day, what I'm going to tell you this, right? If Ineos don't spend money this summer, let's say Man United win the Europa League and it's like ideal. We win the Europa League. We qualify for the Champions League. Let's say that happens, right? Let's say it's brilliant. We've done it. Well done, right? Let's say that happens. If Ineos don't spend, what are they trying to get out of Man United here? Because short-term investment is long-term gain. You know, and at the end of the day, if we don't invest, just like we didn't invest in January properly, we lost 3 players, we brought in 1, right? Just like we didn't invest in January, you know, what is it going to do to the future if we don't spend money? Is that going to help Ruben Amorim? Is that going to help Ineos? Is that going to help profitability? Is it going to help that? Of course it's not. Of course it's not. So, you know, you have to spend money to make money. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you have to spend money to make money. And at the end of the day, this is the first summer that they have with their guy. Their guy is Ruben Amorim. That's their appointment. That's their guy. So they've got to back him. Otherwise, it's counterproductive. You know, it's counterproductive. And I do believe that they will, of course. Big up Shah Amorim in all day. Good morning, Tyborg. Long time no see, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Good to see the legend Tyborg back in the side, back in the team, of course, guys. Big up Tyborg. Absolutely. Hope you're doing well, mate. Hope you're good. We need 3 players like Bruno. I mean, I don't know about that, but yeah, big up Amir. Sal Otobi, I asked Mark if he'd do a collaboration with you. He basically said he doesn't do those sort of things anymore. He doesn't do any Man United collaboration anymore. At the end of the day, that's Mark, mate. If Mark doesn't want to do a collaboration with a real Man United fan, that's up to him at the end of the day. Terry Flewis is not a Man United fan, he's an Arsenal fan. But, you know, that's up to Mark. And to be honest with you, Shah, that is nothing to do with me. I don't really care, because I'm going to grow, and I'm going to grow with this community, and I'm going to grow with loads of people in this community and beyond. I'm going to have some great guests on this show, brilliant guests on this show. And one thing we have to be careful is that people who fish for support but never support anyone else on the upcome. And that is the problem. That shows a lot about other people than anything. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And there you go. Never mind about that. Not too bothered about that. Big up. Big up, Tybog. How you doing? 3-1 today, guys. Big up, Tybog. Of course, big up. My prediction for the City game is 1-1. No doubt players will turn up for this game. Shah, 1-1. You know what? I'm a little bit worried, guys. I'm a little bit worried about Old Trafford. I'm a bit worried about Old Trafford because we're not done well at Old Trafford, to be honest with you. We haven't done well, and we have more chance of winning at the Etihad. I know it's strange and it's weird. We have more chance of winning at the Etihad than anything else. Do you know what I mean? And than playing at Old Trafford, which I never thought I would say, but it is. And I think Man United need to use the crowd to their advantage. Don't be burdened by the atmosphere. Go out there, put your foot in, get that game going, you know what I mean, and push forward and fight for that badge. You know what I mean? I would say it's going to be a difficult game. We know that. You know what I mean? And the last thing I want, guys, is people jumping on Ruben Amorim again. I really hope that Man United win this game today. I really hope that Man United win this game today. Do you know what I mean? And I really believe that we can. And my prediction was 2-1. I said 2-1 to Man United, of course, as well as Sharp. Big up, Sharp. Big up, you legend. Thank you so much. 2-1. Big up, my friend. Hopefully. Big up. Look, guys, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is what it is. Now, look, guys, I want to say this to you guys. 10 years ago, a bunch of people made streams. They made fan content and stuff like that. They were not the most sharpest tools in the toolbox, right? They were not the most knowledgeable Man United fans and Arsenal fans. There was AFC TV and stuff like that. It's up to us to change the narrative. It's up to us to push a different narrative forward with real Man United supporters, right? Real ones. And that is how we do it. And that is how we grow together. You know what I mean? The best thing I've learned being in the music industry for 20 years, worked with bigger people, more talented people than any fan cam out there, you know, with real talent. You know, what the biggest thing to do is build yourself. Build yourself up, get to a number where people can't reject you. And that's what I would say to everyone. Build yourself up and do it. And that is the same with Manchester United, the same. Go out there, win football matches. Go out there, win football matches. Win football matches so no one can deny it. You know what I mean? Stop the talk, walk the walk. That's what Man United need to do. And that is what I would say in regards to that. Absolutely. And hopefully Man United do walk the walk and Man United start winning these kind of football games. We need to make Old Trafford a fortress again. And when I talk about this, and I'm going to bring this into the show, Manchester United 13, Leeds United under 18s 1, right? Now, this is the future of Manchester United, 13-1, right? At the end of the day. And to be honest with you, I would say this. We need to start integrating some of those young players as well, because they're obviously very, very talented, right? JJ Gabriel's too young. He's only 14 years old. I mean, he scored a brace yesterday. What a talent that guy is, guys. What a talent that guy is. JJ Gabriel, Musa. Oh, goodness me. I mean, Musa come to the first team, mate. We're ready for you. We're ready for you. Of course. And you look at that and you think about Thwaites, of course, who's absolutely phenomenal. Ibrahimov, who's absolutely phenomenal. You know, and you look at the future of Manchester United is absolutely exciting. It's exciting. And I would like to see some of these players break into the first team. In particular, the players like Ibrahimov, who just assisting for fun, would be brilliant in that number 10 position, wouldn't he? Maybe try him out. Who knows? Do you know what I mean? Then you've got players obviously like Musa, and then you've got players like Chido, and you've got players like JJ Gabriel, Thwaites. Do you know what I mean? These type of players there. And we have other players as well coming through the ranks, Shea Lacey, Fletcher's, and obviously Scallion and players that have already been in the squad. It doesn't help but make you excited about the future. How we use it is a different story. How we use the future is a different story. You know what I mean? We have to start bringing in and nurturing these players and start slowly bringing them into the side, slowly, and mix them up with some experience. Because we cannot get any better at under 18 level than we are right now. We cannot get any better than that. That is as good as it gets. 13-1. 13-1, guys. That is as good. Guys, you know what I mean? That is a golden generation there, potentially, right? So we need to start putting little bits into that team, little youngsters into that team and stuff like that, and start building the team up. That's what we need to do with these young players, of course. Thank you so much, Charles. You absolute legend. Thank you. The poll is 50-50. Absolutely. Oh, my goodness me. Let me have a look at the poll, guys. Let me have a look at the poll. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at the poll. 50-50. Goodness me. Absolutely. 20 votes only, but it's 50-50, guys. Let's keep voting on that. In regards, would you sign Leon Delat for 40 million? Would you do that, guys? Look, there's going to be a lot of conflicting opinions on that one, of course. Almac, the striker market seems incredibly thin. In other seasons, there were a lot of options. There isn't really much available. We just talk about a couple of targets. There are some left buggers. The thing is, Almac, and you know as well as me, mate, Almac, is that the striker pool is very, very low at the moment, and it has been like that for not just this year. It's been like that for years. I've said many, many times, and people try to deny it, that the pool of talent has regressed. Football has regressed. Talent has regressed in every single position there is on the football field. And this is concerning. And why has it regressed? There is a number of reasons why it's regressed. Number one is that people are much more interested on social media. They just care about looking at their phones all day. When I was younger, we didn't have mobile phones and stuff like that. So to get our attentions off phones and social media and stuff like that, to get our attentions off boredom, we used to go and play football at the park, the local park or the gravel or wherever it was. We used to play football. These days, people are playing games on their phones, are playing, so social media is a beautiful thing. But of course, much rather, we watch clowns on social media and stuff like that. And not me included, but much more rather watch games and stuff like that than play football. And that is why the pool of talent has declined. And as I said, and we said, Matt, many times, that the pool of talent, when you look at the strikers, in the 90s, for example, every single team had good strikers, guys, right? And I can say it from the bottom to the top. Like Southampton had Matt Letizia, Coventry City had Dion Dublin. Do you know what I'm saying? Aston Villa had Dwight York, you know what I mean? And Leeds United, at the end of the day, they had players like Brian Dean and, Wallace and, players of that nature, Tony Yeboah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And you look at Liverpool had Stan Collymore, Robbie Fowler, and I'm not even mentioning Man United. Blackburn had Chris Sutton and Alan Shearer. Newcastle had Les Ferdinand and Faustino Asprilla and players like that. And I could go on and on and on about strikers that were available in the 90s as opposed to now. And the striker pool of talent has declined immensely, unfortunately. And I'm sad about that. And I don't think it's going to change anytime soon because the youth today are much more likely to be on their phones and playing games and computer games and FIFA than playing football outside, of course, guys. Big up, Tyborg. How you doing, my friend? Players, fans, and fans with agendas are the most dangerous, irritating ones. When I hear words like Ronaldo, Messi, GOAT, etc., my blood pressure goes to 200. When I hear words like Ronaldo, Messi, GOAT, players and fans, our agendas are the most dangerous. I mean, at the end of the day, we live in an agenda society, don't we, Tyborg, where people are much more interested in supporting their favorite player than supporting the football club. It only takes one move, for example, upsetting the player they like for them to turn against the manager, which is crazy. Now, I'm a big fan of David Beckham, right? Alex Ferguson dropped David Beckham in the 90s, famously against Leeds United, playing Luke Chadwick on the midfield, in the right of midfield. I was like, why is Alex Ferguson doing that? And then I said, well, Alex Ferguson's the boss. I can't argue with him. It's his choice. Go for it. And that is what it is. I think these days, people are spoiled. People lack discipline. People don't understand what success, what it takes to be successful. They don't understand the benefit of discipline. They don't understand the benefit of training hard, consistency, turning up on time. They don't understand those small little details. They think they're just like, we do it for fun. For example, Sancho FC. Sancho FC, for example, people supporting Sancho over Eric Ten Hag at the time. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, when he's trying to inflict some discipline, Man United need discipline. This revisionism of Rashford and things like that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's just like you're just feeding into that narrative. Like Rashford has not achieved anything at Man United. Rashford has been one of the mainstays of Man United's team since 2015, 14-15. And what has he challenged for a league title? No, I mean, he hasn't. So you're going to have to say that we have to move on from this mentality and this player FC and revisionism. For me, Ronaldo is the GOAT. I always said that because of the way he handled himself. I think Messi's incredibly favoured by the media for whatever reason it is. I know, but I'm not going to talk about it on here. But yeah, and to be honest with you, they're great players, but I'm not a player FC. I'm not a manager FC. I'm Manchester United FC. And if I see what's fair, I'm gonna go by what's fair at the end of the day. Big up Tybor, great comment. Shia Lacey missed 2 of the thirds of last season, and a huge chance says it's a shame he's injury prone because he's one of the best young talents to come out of academy since Greenwood. I agree with about 7, an absolute talent, skillful, scores a goal, quick. I'm devastated by that. I am, and hopefully he overcomes this injury problems. Dan Gore is another one, of course, who has had injury problems as well. You know what, we do have some talent in there, but injuries is a big issue at Man United. And we have to start looking at what's going on at Man United in regards to behind the scenes, the medical team and stuff like that, because it's happening with the first team. Look at De Ligt. De Ligt is injured now. We think that we got a full pool of players back. Yes, we got a full pool of players back. Now De Ligt is injured. What's going on? This is no coincidence. Something fundamentally is going wrong because this was happening before. And then you remember last season when people were blaming Eric Ten Hag for the injuries and his training methods. Now look, the same thing, different manager. He's going around, look, same thing, different manager. Same thing, different manager. People were blaming Eric Ten Hag about this. What's going on at Man United? Maybe people need to look at the medical team. Maybe they need to look at that more than at the physiotherapy team and stuff like that. The physiotherapy team that was accepting a bottle of champagne from Luke Shaw because Luke Shaw used to turn up late for his physiotherapy sessions. Those people there. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's what we need to look at, because at the end of the day, it's no coincidence Man United get injured all the time. You know what I mean? We're like an episode of EastEnders. Something bad always happens. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's ridiculous. And I'm tired of these injuries because we've got so much talent coming through. And I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if, another player, God forbid, Touchwood, gets injured again. A player that we rate highly. And it's always a player that we rate highly, isn't it, guys? Good morning, Revert 7. Thanks so much, my legend. Absolutely good to see you. Good morning, of course. JJ's the next tight end, still 14, though. Revert 7, we can't even play him, and we might even lose him because Man United need to secure. They can't even offer him like a professional contract. Teams can come in for him. We have to really hope that by the time he hits 16, that we nurture him properly. He's incredibly talented. You're not going to get much more talented than that at his age. Scoring a brace in an age group that is way higher than his, guys. This guy is the next, at the moment, he's going on Messi levels at that age. You know what I mean? And we hope that we can nurture him and hope he stays at Man United. The only way he's going to stay at Man United, of course, is if Man United are attractive, because JJ Gabriel is going to get attraction from other football clubs. Barcelona's, Real Madrid's are going to be interested. Of course, they're going to be, and heads will be turned. So Man United need to hopefully concentrate on what happens on the football pitch, make sure we run properly and we're successful. And a bit of positivity comes to this football club because it's what we need, to keep these type of players, of course. Guys, absolutely. Revisionism FC, absolutely. That is what we are, Shark. Revisionism FC. We forget about the years that have gone by. We just concentrate the now. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And people forget about the the pressure that it is to play for Manchester United, the difference between Aston Villa and Man United and Real Betis and Man United is astronomical. We're different worlds. We're worlds away from Betis and Aston Villa. Forget about league position. Think about who we are as a football club, what we've achieved, where we came from, and stuff like that. You know, we're worlds apart from Aston Villa. You know what I mean? We're worlds apart from Real Betis and teams like that. Players are overhyped, played simple as that. Our bench is weak, so Amram can mix it up. Absolutely, Tyborg. Absolutely, mate. Mainu has been overplayed. Rasmus Højlund has been overplayed. Garnacho has been overplayed. And the reason is exactly what you said, Tyborg, is that we have no choice. Young players shouldn't be put into the deep end straight away. Young players should not be, the responsibility should not be heaped on the young players' shoulders. Unfortunately, we're in a position where we have to heap huge pressure on Rasmus, huge pressure on the likes of Garnacho, huge pressure on Ahmed, huge pressure on Euro, huge pressure on Mainu already, guys. Whereas under Alex Ferguson, we used to have a bench, right, that had a lot of experience and a bench that was full of winners. So we can nurture young players into the side slowly, play him 20 minutes, bring him on for 15 minutes, play an experienced player, drop him for a couple of games, send him away to Madeira. Send him on holiday, like Alex Ferguson did with Ronaldo. Remember that? You know what I mean? And do things like that. You know what I mean? And nurture the players and make them feel comfortable before we heap all the pressure that we have. And people forget the toxicity that's at Man United at the moment, the toxicity that is on these players' shoulders. You know, there's a lot of pressure on Man United. You know, I can only imagine the pressure on Rasmus. I can only imagine the pressure on Garnacho at the moment. It must be incredibly big. And it's something that I would bring in. I would have personal meetings with Rasmus. And I would have personal meetings with Garnacho if I was Ruben Amorim. I would, because you know what, it is a very difficult situation. We have to remember the age and the pressure that is on those lads. Man United have been an underachieving football club for 13 years, and you know what, you can sense that, you know what, something's going to happen because Man United are tired. Man United fans are tired. Man United are angry. Man United fans are angry. We're fed up, and you know what, we're arguing amongst each other, and that's what's happening at the end of the day. Big up, Tyborg. Some people really were blaming us last year about training the players too hard. Do they not know we don't run as much as Villa, Brighton? Exactly, Shah. And this is something that they swept under the carpet. You know, these are the same people that were saying that Sancho is cooking at Chelsea. Just not forget that. These are the same people who were criticizing me for posting training videos of Sancho, training, trying to manipulate training, trying to, you know, give half-hearted press-ups and things like that, not taking training seriously. You know, these are the same people who are calling Erik ten Hag a ball fraud and a peanut head when he had 60-odd injuries in that season. Do you know what I mean? But yet still won the FA Cup, outplaying Manchester City. People are still going on with it today with Ruben Amorim, not forgetting that Man United still have the poison in the football club. We still have the bad apples, you know, and he's trying to fix this mentality. People think Rome was built in a day. Man United have been an absolute toxic mess for many, many years now. You know, and it doesn't take 5 months to fix this toxic mess. And people are looking at Amorim now and thinking, you know what? Look, this is how they go, right? This is how stupid they are. They would say at the beginning of Amorim's tenure, yeah, we have to be patient. We have to be this. We have to be that. 5 months down the line, oh, Amorim's not good enough. Amorim should be sacked. Amorim this, Amorim that. Who are we going to get in, mate? Who are we going to get in? Sam Allardyce, Gareth Southgate. Are we going to get these players in? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, do they not know what's going on? Are they absolutely cuckoo? I mean, at the end of the day, they just... Look, I'm upset as many people that we're not getting the results that we want. I'm angry. I want Man United, and I feel Man United should be pushing up that table, right? And isn't it funny that I've supported Man United since the late 80s, and I'm still like supporting Ruben Amorim, even though I've seen success when the other people that are saying this nonsense have never witnessed the success I've witnessed as a Man United fan. They were babies in 1999. You know what I mean? Don't you think that's weird? You know what I mean? That I'm backing Ruben Amorim. You know what I mean? And you know what? Even though I know what success is, I know the levels that Man United can have been and should be at. Because I know that, you know, at the end of the day, we don't deal with absolutes here. We don't deal with, like, you know what, comparisons with other teams. We're Manchester United, and we're different because at the end of the day, the pressure on the club to succeed is astronomical compared to Nottingham Forest, compared to Aston Villa, etc., etc., etc. Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest won't win anything. You know what I mean? We still manage to win trophies. Aston Villa that don't win anything. But we know where Man United need to be. And for Man United need to be that, it's going to be a struggle because the pressure is on us. We have more pressure. We're the Real Madrid, the Bayern Munich of England. You know what I mean? And we should be pushing up that table. You know what I mean? And that is where the pressure comes from, of course. Another Amram interview. Yeah, Shah, look, and I said this yesterday, Shah, absolutely. Ruben Amram needs to stop doing his interviews. But what I would say is this, that some part of me thinks that this is an Ineos ploy. This is Ineos who pushing Ruben Amram to do interviews for money. This is what I'm thinking right now. I'm beginning to think that because Ruben Amram done a press conference prior to the Man City press conference, right? And then straight after the press conference, he's talking to a Sky Sports representative. Why does he need to do that? He's already spoken 100 times. He's already spoken in the press conference. Why does he need to do another bloody press conference? Why does he need to do that? You know what I mean? These Sky Sports, BT, TNT personnel need to F off politely need to F off and let Ruben Amram rest, for goodness sake, because at the end of the day, I'm beginning to think that Ineos are pushing him to do these interviews for money. That's what I'm beginning, because he's doing too many. The press conference should be that is that. The odd interview will happen every once, twice a season. But the press conference, done. That's it. I've said everything I need to say. If you want to get your assistant manager to do other interviews, get your assistant manager to do it. Jose Mourinho used to do that. He used to get the assistant manager to do it. And that is what Ruben Amram should do. Ruben Amram needs to maintain an element of prestige. He can't be on having interviews every 5 minutes. It ruins prestige, right? And then people there's nothing else Ruben Amram can say right now. He said it all. I mean, so at the end of the day, we're coming into a very important week. Man United got Man City today, and we got a short rest until we got Lyon on Thursday, which for me is our biggest game of the season, right? Is Lyon. Right now, it's our biggest game of the season. And then, you know what? We need to concentrate and focus on that rather than having all these press conference interviews and stuff like that. Because it is tiresome. It's tiresome for me. It must be tiresome for Ruben Amram at the end of the day, guys. That's it. Good morning, Abada. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Really good to see you. Hope you're good. Good to see the legends in the house. How much money will East United earning from media interviews at Sky as well? I mean, they probably earn a lot of money, Mashar. They probably get a lot of money from the Sky interviews. I mean, if not, I think Ruben Amram should just say no. He should say no, that I've done my press conference, which I'm legally obliged, which I'm contractually obliged to do. Well, he's not. He can get his assistant manager to do the interviews, by the way. But the Man United representative has to do the press conference. It doesn't have to be Ruben Amram, by the way. And you know what? I would say if he's doing interviews with silly little journalists who don't know nothing about Man United, who don't have the insiders, Sky haven't had the inside knowledge for a long time. If they don't have that, then you know what? I would say that, don't do it, Ruben. Say no. Tyberg, we have the best manager at the club can get. Amram is like a Fergie. He loves the control at the club. People asking for his head lack football intelligence. They lack everything. Exactly, Tyberg. They lack football IQ. They lack football intelligence. And I've said this a number of times. I don't say it for being being cruel. I don't say it for being unfair to these people. But it is a very unintelligent opinion. It is a dead ball opinion. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, people who don't understand football. People who don't analyze football, they analyze football from vibes. That's what they do. They analyze football from stats. That's what they do. And they don't analyze football in a manner that looks at it from a subjective point of view and subject to their own opinion as well. Unfortunately, people are more inclined to worship their own opinion than support their football club. They're more inclined to say that, you know what, my opinion's right and I'm never wrong and that's it. I don't care if it harms the football club. I would rather be wrong every single week, every day, if it meant Man United winning. These people don't care about Man United winning. They care about being right. That's all they care about. And a lot of these people sacrifice themselves early in regards to saying Ruben Amram out. So now they sacrifice themselves. They're too egotistical to go back on their opinion. Even if Ruben Amram comes out this season and wins the Europa League, right? He might win the Europa League. He might come 9th or 8th in the league. And then people are going to go, it doesn't matter. He still needs to be sacked. Ignoring the context. Ignoring the fundamental issues that have been happening this season. That's the problem. That's the issue there. Do you know what I mean? And this is something that we need to delete from the fan base. Unfortunately, we got so many of them in our fan base. It's unreal how many unintelligent vibes fans that we have around the world, and they don't really love the football club. They love their opinion. You know, or they love their favorite fan camera who's been talking about Ruben Amorim for months. You know what I mean? And that's what it is at the end of the day. Big up, Tyborg, legend. Why don't the CEO do interviews also as a manager, not a head coach? I mean, you can get your assistant manager to do it as well. Not that the CEO is obviously the CEO, but you can get your assistant manager to do interviews. You can get your assistant manager or a player to do the interviews. Ruben Amorim used to do it. Alex Ferguson done it a couple of times in regards to bringing out the assistant manager to do the press conferences. And that's what you can do. But I'm not bothered about the press conferences. Okay, it is a thing that has been happening in English football or European football for many, many years. It's not going to change. But what I'm fed up with is that just as soon as he finishes the press conference, he goes off to a Sky representative or a TNT representative or whatever it is and does an interview with them as well and asks the same questions personally. It's an ego trip for those channels. That's all it is. It's like, look, we got an exclusive. And that's what it is at the end of the day. Just need to let the guy rest for a bit. Let the guy do his thing, of course, guys. Absolutely. Even Mike Phelan gave, absolutely, there you go, Tyborg. And this is what they should do. I mean, he does too many interviews, of course. Remember when Fergie had Quiros and Phelan to do post-match interview when it fell out with BBC? Absolutely, and you can do that. There's nothing in a contract that says you can't do that. Jose Mourinho did it, of course. You know, it's good. Adds prestige. You know what I mean? It adds a little prestige. When you've got some prestige about you, you know, people respect you. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, guys, if you're too nice to people all the time, people walk over you. These media people especially, they'll walk over you and stuff like that, of course. I hope their sitting protest go well. Yes, by the way, good luck to the guys who are doing the sitting protest, of course. I wish them all the luck, as always, guys. I wish them the best of luck, absolutely. And hopefully we send a message out there to the Glazers, to Ineos, that we're not messing about. Big up the people doing the protest. I hope it's successful, and I wish you the best of luck. I pray for Man United, and I pray that they get what we need, which is the Glazers out one day. It will be a beautiful day, and we'll mark it as a national holiday when the Glazers leave this football club, of course, guys, absolutely. Guys, I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining me again. I'm 500 odd away from 10,000 subscribers, so please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and please don't forget to smash a like on the video, guys. Really helps the video. No chatterbox because I'm going straight into the watch along today, of course, for the Manchester derby. Of course, can't wait for it, guys. Absolutely. The poll is 48 to 52%. So 52% say. So if we look at this, we're going to say 52% say that they would not spend 40 million on Delap in the summer. They would not spend 50 million on Delap in the summer. There you go, guys. I mean, it's fairly even. It's fairly even, of course. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Right after the loss yesterday, the president of Frankfurt gave the interview. I would like to see that at United, people upstairs always hired, especially after the loss. They do, Tyborg. And you know what? You're absolutely right. It is a godsend that they have to do interviews one day, because you know what? We've had enough of the Glazers. The Glazers should come out and speak, but they won't. Of course, they feel invincible. You know what I mean? Ineos should come out and speak after the video. You know, it's like referees, isn't it? It's like referees need to have a bit of accountability for the bad decisions. More poor decisions yesterday from the referees. And you know what? There comes a time when we have to start questioning these useless, incompetent referees, of course, as well. Peace. Big up Revert saying, big up Tyber, big up everyone, Shah Alam, everyone who's contributed to this chat today. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe again if you're new. And please don't forget to smash a like, guys. Absolute legends. I'll be back later for the watch along between Man United and Man City. Don't forget to join me, of course, for that game, 4 p.m. UK time. Of course, guys, I'll be live for you, of course. And hopefully Man United get the result we need. I'm Sal Warner. This is Breaking Dawn. Take it easy. Have a great day, guys. Peace.